Hi there, my name is Maria Gurieva. I'm the founder of Studyamerica, and we help international students from all over the world get accepted to top US universities. In this video, let's talk about the SAT reading, the hardest part for international students, because it is designed for Americans and for people whose native language is English. And for international students whose native language is not English, it's a very hard section because they test you as if you were a native speaker. And that is why in this video, I will talk about life hacks that can help you make your life easier and actually pass it well. Let's go. By the way, please subscribe to my channel. It will help my channel to develop, which is very important to me. The SAT reading section, is the first section in your SAT test. This section is quite long. It's 60 minutes or 1 hour, and it has 52 questions. And you will have 5 texts, although one of the passages would be in 2 parts. So you will have 2 separate texts within one passage. But the passages that you will have, it's 5 of them. And for each passage, you will have several questions. The questions would be about the specific ideas that the author had, what kind of main idea the passage has, what specific ideas the author had in specific parts of the text. What did the author imply by saying something? What kind of detail the author said? What kind of different literature tools the author uses in the text? So this would be quite hard work with the text, with the passage, and with the ideas and meanings that the author had in there. And the questions would be mostly about that. A lot of questions would ask you to look at the specific part of the text and answer that question. However, some of the questions would be considering the whole passage. The passages, 5 of them, would be different. And the first passage is always the fiction passage, so some abstract from some literature work. So it will be a fictional passage where they will have some dialogue, some characters talking to each other, something happening to them. So it will have some kind of a story in that passage. And the questions would be also about the characters, their dialects, what did they mean by saying something, what did the author mean by saying something. In this passage, it is important to read the whole thing. So you read the entire passage and then you go to answer the questions. However, from the 2nd to the 5th passage, you will have scientific articles. So the passages would be more scientific, and it can be natural sciences or liberal arts, but it would be scientific passages, which means that you do not have to read the entire thing before you answer the questions. When you have a scientific passage, non-fictional passage, you need to read the sentences at the beginning of each paragraph, because in the scientific passages, the beginning of each paragraph is the main idea of the paragraph. Also, you need to read the last sentence of the introduction, because this is normally the thesis statement, the most important statement of the whole passage. This is the main idea of the passage. So the beginnings of each paragraph and then the last sentence of the introduction. These are the sentences that you need to read before you go to answer the questions. You don't need to read the whole thing. You just need to read 8 sentences. Then you go to the questions, and the question will have a specific part in the passage that this question is asking about. So when you see the question, you go back to the passage and you continue reading that specific paragraph. This way, you read the passage, you save a lot of time, you save a lot of energy and focus, and you read the passage only to answer a specific question. So you actually don't waste a lot of energy and time to reading the whole thing. You read with the specific goal. You read a specific paragraph with a specific goal to answer a specific question. And that saves you a lot of time, and this is definitely what you should do because it helps you to answer questions correctly, to not get tired, and to actually get the idea of what the main important points of the passage are. Because some of the questions would ask you about the main ideas. And if you already read those 8 sentences, you know how to answer those questions. And you don't get mixed by all these different ideas in the middle of the paragraph. You already know the most important key ideas of the passage, and it helps you answer those questions well. And if you want to apply to the United States, then definitely get to my free webinar, where I talk about all the steps necessary to take in order to get accepted to the top US university and get financial aid. I will talk about the cases of my students who also succeeded in applying to top US universities, and I will tell you everything you need to know about the application process, about succeeding, about how to guarantee yourself admissions, and about how to get financial aid and study in the United States for free. The link is in the description. In order to pass the SAT reading well, you need to work on your vocabulary. And the vocabulary of the passages is quite hard, and it is designed for native speakers. That is why you need to improve your vocabulary. There are a lot of resources online where you can improve your vocabulary specifically for the SAT test, and it's very convenient. Some of the resources have flashcards, and you can study this way the words and get familiar with the vocabulary and have easier time passing the test. Also, there are hard copy resources where you have actual flashcards and you can use them to memorize the words. Flashcards are great in order to improve your vocabulary. When you are improving your vocabulary, always try to memorize the word in the context. Definitely read the context, read how the word is used in the sentence, because it helps your brain to memorize it well. Because you have so many words to learn and so many words to memorize, at the beginning it might seem pretty easy, you learn them pretty fast, but when you have more and more words and you also need to repeat the previous words because you forget them so easily because you don't use them in normal speech, then it becomes harder for your memory, for your brain to memorize that amount of words. When you have hardships memorizing the words, hardships remembering the words that you already learned, try to use associations. Try to associate this word with something else. How does it sound like? What it sounds familiar to? There are also some flashcards that help you get those associations. They already created them, and they help you, give you some tricks to memorize that word by saying like this word sounds like this other words, and they even can create a story that somehow explains you this word and make you give you a good association. Other than memorizing words, of course, you need to practice a lot, because the reading section of the SAT test is the hardest section in terms of different life hacks that can help you pass it well. Because in the writing and language test section, which is the second section of the test, in the math section, there are specific rules that you need to remember, specific life hacks. For example, in the writing and language test, specific grammar rules that you need to memorize and repeat. In the math section, of course, specific rules you need to know how to solve different problems, and also life hacks, that how to solve any problem easier and faster, and what can help you find the right answer. And you memorize or remember or practice all those tricks and tactics and rules, and then the section becomes easy for you because you did your digging, you did your homework, and you learned the specific things that help you pass it. In the reading section, there are very few things like that, because you work with text. Text is always different, and the questions are always different, and you need to really get deeper into the text, into the passage, in order to find the right answer. Of course, there are some life hacks, but the problem with the reading section is that it requires so much practice, and only with the practice you can pass it well. Of course, there are different resources, and we have a separate video about resources that can help you pass the SAT test well. Definitely check this video out. And the resources can help you practice and can help you learn specific tricks that will help you with the reading section. And you need to learn the question types. It will help you a lot as well. And of course, practice the reading, because you need to get familiar with reading the fictional passage, which is the first passage, and then get familiar with reading only specific sentences of the scientific passage, and then actually be able to use that information to answer questions correctly, to go back to the passage and answer the question correctly, find the specific spot in the text that answers that question. All of this requires practice, so please learn these kind of tactics and practice them, because only the practice can help you get the good score. If you like this video, please press the like button and subscribe to my channel. There are a lot of very useful videos about applying to the United States. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on my free masterclass and in the next videos. Bye bye!